on this episode.
Somebody was on the swing. It was dusk. It was shocking at that time of day. There's a guy on the swing, and he was a tall guy.
Maybe this is something that's being controlled. Maybe it was some sort of a machine.
Something's odd. That's something not of this planet that's happening right now.
That's an alien.
So you see the humanoid figure.
It looked like a humanoid. He was 35 feet tall.
I think that's extraterrestrial.
Did you believe they existed?
I seen a flash that.
Did you ever have any other encounters after that initial one?
I got to see a lot of craft and a lot of different aliens.
Today, our glasses clink in the dim glow of mystery as we dive deep into the abyss of the unknown with our special guest, Mike Mulligan, a seasoned veteran of the U.S. Navy. Mike's ordinary world beneath the waves aboard a nuclear submarine was extraordinary, entwined with secrecy and silent depths. But what lurks beyond the radar pings and sonar echoes is not just the murk of the ocean. Mike has encountered beings not listed on any naval chart or in any military file. His tales do not dwell on the creatures of the deep blue, but rather on the visitors beyond the stars. Through chilling interactions and inexplicable abductions, Mike has glimpsed into the realms that challenge our understanding of reality itself. So tighten your grip on your drink as we peel back the layers of our cosmic narrative with Mike. His story isn't just one of naval warfare and underwater tactics, but of cosmic encounters that could redefine the very essence of life as we know it. We're not just seekers of truth. We're its bastion in a world teeming with secrets. We are the Conspiracy Realists. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shane Squarick, here with my esteemed colleague, Mr. Phillips. And tonight we're welcoming in Mike Mulligan, U.S. Navy veteran. Mike, it's a pleasure to have you join us for some cocktails and conspiracies. Mike, I want to jump right into it and start a little bit with your background. We're live.
Well,
We're live, baby.
I was in the Navy, and then I got out of the Navy. I worked in a nuclear plant for 13 years, and a truck driver, and then when I got out, worked at Vermont Yankee nuclear plant for 15 years. And by the time I got essentially was asked to leave, I was a whistleblower and stuff like that. So,
Okay, well, we're certainly going to be getting to that.
How long were you in the Navy, Mike?
When I left there, 10 years went by, and then I came back here and I helped shut them guys down. What else? After that, it was kind of, after the Vermont Yankee experience and all the cheating and falsifying records and the regulators turning turning away from you and stuff like that, it was, it got to be dangerous for me. And stuff. I wrote a letter to the Vermont governor and got her to get involved and stuff like that. So that, and after that, my life, my working life was ruined because, all that subterfuge and lies and, the insider games they play up there and stuff like that. And then, to pick up radiation like I did as part of my job. Was another.
Wow, yeah.
So after that, I worked at Walmart. I was a truck driver, and then I retired.
So, Mike, you actually helped to get that nuclear plant shut down.
I helped to get 2 nuclear plants shut down. Vermont,
2 of them, okay. We'll certainly get into that at some point, yeah.
Vermont Yankee and Pilgrim plant, and they're sister and brother plants.
So let's jump back a little bit in the Navy. How long were you in the Navy? When did you start? Is it something that you kind of always wanted to do growing up?
Well, I lived in a low income project, an inner city low income project all my life, and by the time I was 21, the cops were not really chasing me, but they were watching me, and the gangs and all that sort of stuff, and so I enlisted in the Navy. And then at boot camp, they did the craziest thing to me. I qualified for nuclear power. They made me take a test. I never been to college, and the craziest. What I was going to say, I forgot what I was going to say.
So, no, you enlisted in the Navy,
Yeah,
and you went to boot camp,
oh,
and you qualified for nuclear power. What's that like? How does one qualify?
They came up to me. They brought me into a building. They come up to me and they says, "You can go with the nuclear powers. Do you want to go in subs?" And I'm sitting there. Oh fuck! Fucking that should be thrilling. And so out of the Navy, I lived in a isolated environment, and then I got on my first airplane, and then I got to see boot camp and organization and things I've never seen before, and then I went to San Diego to actually to John S. McCain, the USS John S. the old one, and stuff, and then they sent me to a submarine in the desert. I'm not kidding.
Submarine in the desert?
Yeah, I forget the name of Idaho, and they built a big pool in the ground. They put water,
for like training.
Put water in it, and then they put a submarine in there. And
I assume this is training. Yeah, like Tim said.
Probably.
Interesting.
Wow. Okay. Now, did you ever actually see like real vast ocean in a submarine?
Oh, we felt it.
Well, when you were serving and you were deployed, you were in the submarine, you were out in the ocean, right? You actually served on a submarine. Is that correct?
Yeah, right. The USS Lipscomb, SSN 65.
Wow.
By the way, thank you very much for your service. We appreciate it. All of our listeners do as well, I'm sure.
But just to get back, and then just this, San Diego, the big cities, the industrial facilities on the side. I've seen so much shit, unimaginable shit that I was never exposed into in the projects. It was just awesome in the beginning. And so, what about that submarine?
What's that?
What were you saying about that submarine?
No, so we were asking, what your time was like in the submarine. Outside of it sounds like what the training was in the middle of the desert. Did you see open ocean at any point?
I was where I was all through. I was all through Europe. I spent a lot of time in the Med. I was up in the North Atlantic an awful lot. You know what the North Atlantic is, right? I mean,
geographically, I do.
Yeah,
are you alluding to something else?
Yeah, that's the only freshwater port. That's the only freshwater port. I forget the name of it. It was the biggest Navy port in Russia. So that's why we were up there. We were kind of nosing around, doing intelligence.
Cool.
Is it? Well, no, that's in Montreal, St. Lawrence Seaway. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything as I try to Google it really quickly.
Well, it's up near the North Pole.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's wild. So when you were on the sub, I remember you talking a little bit about it. It's a nuclear sub. Yep. You got approved to work with nuclear. What was actually on? Were you basically moving nuclear weapons? Was it nuclear power? Give us a little bit of information.
I worked in the engine room. I worked on the machinery that turned the screw that propelled us.
Wow.
So that again, I seen like before I even got on that sub. I worked on, for a long time, but 4 or 5 different designs of ship propulsion nuclear reactors.
Wow.
I got a wide breadth of education on all the different kinds of
So, Mike, the sub you were on, that was a nuclear powered sub?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's wild. Is that something that's still in commission today?
It's razor blades in a dump.
That's a good metaphor. So you finish up with the Navy. How long were you in the Navy?
So it's been
4 years?
long. I retired, and they put it to the shipyard and took it all apart. The core itself, with the uranium in it, they took
Sure.
it. They took it to Idaho, and it's sitting in the desert in a specific place.
I'm shocked they wouldn't reuse that in some other facet. I mean, I guess it's easier for them to get uranium, but to have uranium, to have this core, a nuclear core, nonetheless, it's kind of a little random to just leave it sitting in the middle of nowhere.
Oh no, no, that's in a military facility.
Right.
It's run by the Department of Energy and stuff.
I hope so.
And that's all.
Yeah.
Miles and miles of
You and me both.
miles and miles of desert. So they got a little spot, and it's well fenced off and all.
Okay. Well, that sounds a little bit better than just dropping it in a pile of bricks in the middle of the desert, All right, so let's pivot a little bit. Fast forward, you spend your time in the Navy. You were in there for, what'd you say, how many years?
I was in there. I enlisted for 6 years, and I served on the sub for 4 years.
Wow. Oh man, I couldn't even imagine being just like pent up and like so claustrophobic in that sub the entire time.
Dude, I could barely do a plane, never mind a submarine.
I mean, the concept of it's pretty cool, like being able to travel, see the world, being under the ocean. But I don't know, it's just a little too tight for me, for my life personally.
You could do it.
I don't know about that, Mike.
Get you on the sub, right? They'll get you on the sub. You'll go down in the sub. The 4-inch steel hatch will shut on you, and once that shuts on you, there's no turning back. And so they're crazy for a month. And
anyone ever lose their minds being down there?
When the end of it, you're a great sailor.
Unless you're me and you're just having constant panic attacks the entire time. I don't think I could survive that.
You're amazing. I'm telling you, you don't understand how adaptable you are. You could.
Well, we'll trust you on that one, Mike. I don't suspect I'm going to go down there, especially after the whole Titanic sub incident that happened recently.
Yeah.
I'll stay away. So now we're out of the Navy, and you said you worked at nuclear power plants. So I want to dive into that a little bit. Obviously, it's a natural transition. You've been on a nuclear sub. Now you're working in power plants. And I guess we can kind of dive into a little bit. What did you do on the power plants? Are you just basically maintaining the cores there, or are you working security? How does your role kind of evolve from the sub?
Operator. The federal government had to I had to pass federal tests in order to get a license, and so and that consisted of me. I'm not kidding around. To my Navy time, millions of dollars of training.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, I bet.
I would hope so too.
Yeah,
honestly, with the responsibility you're taking in there.
So in the first years, I ran around as a equipment operator, and that was I operated everything that was outside the control room. And the control room is where they controlled the reactor and all the emergency gear and all that sort of stuff. So I ran around and it took rounds and did maintenance. Spent a lot. You want a cool story?
Yeah,
we love stories, dude.
So it was a shutdown, and it's a shutdown, and they gave me all sorts of jobs, and finally one day, I think somebody was mad at me, and they said you're going into the containment. You're going to go into the torus, and inside the torus is the reactor. So he says you're going to go into the reactor. We got a job for you in there to shut some valve, and so you have to. So I went down there right next to the reactor. There's radiation people down there, so you got to get permission from them. So I got to change out of my clothing only with my underwear on. Then then they put one pair of anti-Cs on me. That's the red cloth with the jumpsuit. They put 3 anti-Cs on. Uh,
This is all radiation protection, I assume.
that's for me to get under the core.
Okay.
Going under the core, the side of the core. There's like a sphere, and stuff
Hmm.
like that. And and then all up here is fuel.
Okay.
Zillion tons of fuel, and so I was going underneath there to do it, and you're on a forced breathing mask. You're in a rain suit. In other words, they got a rain suit on all that other shit and stuff.
Wow.
So I had to crawl around. It was really, really high radiation and
I can imagine.
extremely high contamination. And so and you have these control drive mechanisms, and they power the core. They come down in like well, I named it the upside, and it stuck. The upside down rainforest. It's like sprinkling down there, and the control rod drives. If you had an imagine, they're long and thin, and there's about 20 of them, and they all come out of the core at the bottom of the core. So I had to go underneath there and shut that valve.
Were you concerned about like, hey, I'm being exposed to such high levels of radiation right now? Like, was there like, I know just thinking about myself, I'd be like, dude, is this shit you're putting on me working? Like, I'd be a little concerned.
Well, there's really no concern because they put all sorts of monitors on you and alarms and remote and all that sort of stuff. And they map out how you get there, and the least radiation contamination stuff. And then you're in there for not very long, and you got to come out. They'll force you out, because nobody wants. We have you have federal regulations how much radiation we get, and it's 3 years or 3 rim per year.
Okay.
About what year was this when you were doing this, Mike?
From 1980 to 1993.
Okay, so you're right in the middle. I mean, I guess right in the middle of your tenure working in nuclear power plants happens to be Chernobyl. Does that sort of, change the course of what you're thinking about your job as you're climbing under reactors, dressed in a raincoat, what it sounds like?
I'm pretty good at denying reality.
Fair.
I guess you kind of have to, right?
Yeah, I can imagine.
No, but I was trained in the Navy and stuff like that. I understood all the different radiation meters. I was always was measured with radiation and all that sort of stuff. But compared to
by this point you're comfortable with it. It's something you've been around, you've experienced it. You're comfortable doing this.
I got really comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So part of the reason
I was making good money, I was making a lot of money. So
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. Putting your life at risk like that. And I know it doesn't seem like that, when you're in the midst of it and with your experience.
I wasn't putting my life at risk.
It doesn't seem that way, but it's a big risk. If something goes wrong.
I was making electricity for the little old ladies in an apartment. That's what I was trying. The least expensive electricity for the little old. That's what.
Yeah.
That's what we thought we were doing.
Yeah.
There's a kind of a way to explain it.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's a great outlook for sure. So part of the reason we really wanted to set the stage with your background working with nuclear energy is because nuclear has often been associated with extraterrestrial, non-human intelligence, or alien encounters. And so that's really what brings us here tonight. Just calling it straight out as it is. You had an encounter yourself.
Yes.
So was it an encounter as in like an eye level seeing somebody? Was it an abduction? Tell us a little bit about what happened.
Do you want me to explain how far you want me to explain the deal?
As much as you feel comfortable, you can start where you want, and we can go from there.
So I do biking and hiking a lot of times. I spend a lot of leisure time out in the woods and stuff like that. So on that day, I took a pretty not a pretty long one, but I must have got going early, and it was probably 30 miles, and I came back into the woods. I was, all throughout the woods. And I came back by my house in the woods, and I said, I don't really want to go to the house right now. I'm still revved up, and I got energy. So I got a little route about a mile or half, 3/4 of a mile that's got all these ups and downs, a couple of, not big hills, but enough to get your heart going. And a couple areas where I got to use balance and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's a wonderful little area to exercise in. So that's where I went. And I get through it 80% of the way, and I come out of the woods, and I'm walking up this incline, and I'm kind of tired. I'm really tired. Usually the only reason why I go out is to exhaust myself by the end of the day, and so I'm pretty tired, and I'm going up there, and it was winter, beautiful. It was dusk out, beautiful woods area and thick woods area. And then I'm walking up this incline, and to the right of me, when I get all the way up, there's a playground and pool area. And so I walk up the hill. I'm no lie, I'm tired. And all the way walking up the hill, I hear somebody on a swing. Somebody was on the swing. It was dusk. This place, shut down in the winter and stuff. So
There's like a lodge or something that's on the top of this?
Oh, it's a recreation area. Yeah, people with mobile homes rent space there.
So this is like a common trail that people are traveling. It's not just off the beaten path necessarily.
The pool is the recreational area. I'm walking on the peripheral of their property.
Okay, I got you. So you get up to the recreational area, you hear the swing.
I'm walking up and I hear the swing, and it's going on for a god awful long time. Somebody's swinging back and forth with a squeaky spring, and so I'm start paying attention. Start thinking, what the fuck is somebody out here for? Kids and all that sort of stuff. Well, what's somebody out there? And I am drawn to it, more or less. And I get up to the top, and I look around, and I look across the pool, and it's like halfway into dusk, and the playground area is lit up with light. It looked like it was lit up a crime scene area. It was just really daylight. All around, maybe for
so unnaturally for what it should have been for that time of day. It was a light that was odd that kind of caught your attention.
It was shocking at that time of day.
Right.
And that time of the year. There's nobody up there.
Sure.
At all. So I see that light, and I swear to God, I'm saying to myself, that's an alien. That can only be aliens down there. I tend to go off the rails every once in a while, and so and I'm saying to myself, thinking about it, and I'm thinking about the implications of it. And I says, if you go back there, if you go up to him, there'll be implications on that.
Mike, let me ask you a quick question. Before you even when you saw the light, that was enough for you initially that you were like, hey, something's weird. I think that's extraterrestrial.
You want to know what made the light?
I would like at some point, yeah, get to it. but I guess my question was that you kind of had that inkling right off the bat of, hey, something's odd. That's something not of this planet that's happening right now.
I absolutely had an idea that was something not from this planet. I haven't seen the aliens yet and stuff like that, but that light and all that sort of stuff. I don't know why. I said that's the alien. That's aliens. Then I thought about the implications of me going down there. I said, should I go down there? I had another way. I could have gone all the way around and bypassed this whole thing. But I just got curious, and I went there, and I went into the playground.
So that's where I'm going to stop you right there. and we're gonna pause that, and we're gonna come back to it. I want to ask you first: were you always interested in aliens? Was it something that sort of sat in the back of your mind? I know for Tim and I, it's something that we've been interested in for 20 years since we were kids. Same for you, or was this sort of like that first encounter? Maybe you were just a skeptic. What was your background on
Oh
that?
Jesus, Star Trek and all the space programs and all that sort of stuff. All that stuff I've seen and stuff like that. That was always cool. That was really cool.
Yeah. So you had interest in it. It wasn't like this was
true.
completely foreign to you. Maybe it was a hope. Did you believe they existed?
Yeah. 90%.
To some degree. Okay. So I'm going to let you continue there. You get to the top, you hear the swing, you see this area is illuminated. Your curiosity is starting to take over. And I'll turn the floor to you.
It started out like that quick, but then it ended, and then I felt like I felt something in my head. I felt something in my head, kind of like something. And then it kind of after that it kind of became an obsession. So that's how it was really.
So did you walk down by the swing?
So I walked down by this. Well, I got about 30 steps away, and then there's a guy in the swing, and he was a tall guy, and these guys were dressed up just like me, shirt, college shirt, dungarees, short hair, and some people say they were trying to appease me with those clothes. So that's what. And there was two aliens, one short and one tall, and then there was huge telephone pole. This is spooky. Size man, size looking. It looked like a humanoid. It was about a telephone pole size, maybe just a little bit thicker. It had. It was about. It varied between 15 and 20 feet high. I mean, I'd turn around and it'd be 30 feet high in the woods, 30 feet from me. I'd turn away. The same thing would happen. He would be, what did I say, 30? Well, he'd be 15. And then I seen this kind of stuff, all of them were doing that. They really weren't moving in front of me. They were waiting until I didn't look, and then they would jump into another place. So the telephone pole man was, like I say, 30. This is when I first seen him. He was 35 feet tall. He had his calves or his ankles on backwards. He was looking like this, shaking his hands. He didn't have any hands on him, but his below the wrist. That's all I could see. He looked like a, the balloon things at a car lot.
Yep.
He reminded me of that. Today he reminds me of the guy. What's that movie? The day the world stopped.
Yes, the day the earth stood still.
He looked like that guard beam. To be truthful, that was in the area, and so like he didn't have a head. He just had a neck. He had his arms were around like this, and towards the end of it, he had knees. He had a torso. Well, and then straight up.
So you can clearly define what appears to be body parts, but it's ambiguous enough where you're not exactly sure what he looked like, but you can see out the mechanics of his body. Am I getting that correctly?
And it's a humanoid thing. Whatever it was, it was meant to be me looking like partially human for some reason.
Sure.
So at parts he was always waving his hands, like in the wind, without the wrist, and he was always waving his hands.
So hypothetically, playing devil's advocate, Is there any reason that there would have been one of those big puffy Bailey buddies flapping around up there at this recreation? Is it possible that there was one there?
Was it possible?
Would it have been remotely possible that you see one of those big blow up things there? No reason to be there in the middle of the woods.
The little guy, I think I seen 3 days ago in that area, and he was walking around. He looked like
3 days ago. It's like 3 days, like from now.
3 days, saying like 3 days from the encounter. I was in there.
Okay.
Kind of short human. He kind of was hunching away from me and stuff like that, and I thought that was very peculiar. And I think that was
just
him.
to pause real quick, Mike. So there's the very tall, large humanoid figure that you saw. There's one that's very small, right, that you just mentioned, and then there's one that's on the swing. Am I getting that right? So there's 3 entities in total that you're having an encounter with at this point?
That humanoid being always was a humanoid being. He didn't change.
Right.
He didn't change his physique or anything like that. Except he had his wrist. He had another joint here. He had a joint here. He had another joint here. He had another joint here and another joint here. And I interpreted it was the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Humanoid thing I ever seen.
I mean, would scare the shit out of me if I saw it. 100%.
No, God, yeah, I got chills when you talk about it.
So, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, I want to make sure I'm getting your encounter correct. So you saw.
That's called helping.
Yeah. So you see the humanoid figure. You see a man, as you described it, on a swing, and then you see another man that's small.
Three beings.
Three beings. Okay.
Well, let's jump back to those other two because I think that's where Tim's getting. Let's move the humanoid, the tall humanoid figure away. We've got the being on the swing, and then that shorter being.
We've got to talk about the humanoid thing eventually. You got to remind me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll go right back to him. Tell us a little bit about these other beings, though. Yeah. So tell us about these other 2 beings. The one on the swing. What does the one on the swing do as you start to approach? Does it get off? Does it approach you? Is that when it starts to move around?
Well, he stayed on the swing a long time. He stayed on the swing a long time. He was swinging, and then I seen him at the periphery of the light or of the playground. That's all he hung around in that area. He never came down. He never came down to to see me up close and personal. He always stayed in the periphery of it.
Okay. They're not approaching you. It's just the humanoid one that's really approaching.
Yes, and also big time the little guy.
Okay. Did you
Tell
hear
us about
anything?
The little guy.
Yeah.
Tell us about the little guy.
I'm in there. I'm in the playground, and I'm curious, and I start walking around a wall inside the damn playground. At times I'm outside the fence, getting close to them as protection, but then I just said fuck it and went in the playground and played. The little guy was walking around or jumping around, and I walked up to him, and underneath the swing there's a dirt, there's a scuffed out piece of dirt. The kids scuffed it out or whatever, and and so foot deep maybe, scuff area under the thing.
Yeah. Like when kids are, kicking their feet and they kind of dig out like a shallow, divot. Yeah.
That little being jumped into the hole face down and started squirming, unbelievable, and stuff. And he started squirming terribly. He looked like a terrified animal. I'm saying to he's a terrified animal. He looked like a terrified animal with his face and a nose. And he wasn't really trying to dig down, but he was, really trying to get his nose in.
Burrowing.
Like trying to get away from me.
Do you think he's afraid of you? Or at least at that point, maybe he was afraid. He didn't know who you were or wasn't expecting to see you, maybe?
Maybe didn't think I'd walk up to him that close.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. What was going through your mind at that time?
This whole thing, you know, it's like, you know, I never seen this shit before anywhere, and I don't think anybody else had, and it just was so befuddling, you know. It's just, look, okay, it's going to be my job interpreting what happened to me,
Sure.
naming the people. It was just so out of this world that you know, that's kind of, you know, how I felt at the time. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And I don't think it's something that, you know, it's easy for everyone to come back and say, oh, yeah, you know, I would have done this or I would have done that. And I would remember everything because it's such a traumatic experience. And of course, you wouldn't forget. Most people can't say what they had for breakfast this morning, let alone yesterday, right? And I think people often overestimate how much they actually would remember or what they would actually do in those situations. Personally, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably be scared shitless and I'd probably run the other way, but perhaps my curiosity would overtake me. I don't know.
Life. It would change your life.
I bet.
Well, being interested in the subject, I would like to think that I would try to pursue it, right? And just get a definitive answer for myself. Even if nobody else believes me after that, at least I know for myself, like, all right, I've had this experience. I can file this away. Would I be able to? I don't know. Go ahead, Mike.
First in there, I you know, my internal talk, myself, and I'm saying, oh boy, this is out of this world. I knew it was alien involved here, and I said, and I was looking around, and I said, I gotta fucking look at everything and make sure I remember it. It's going to be very important to me at the end to eyeball everything and explore this thing, and that's what that's what I thought.
So how does
that little guy, I mean, it was so ugly. It was so, you know, you know, I knew it was an alien. You know, I'm sitting there again, Mike. You're looking at an alien. I just preposterous, and seeing him wiggle around, and he. There's no question. He was telegraphing to me. He was terrified. His body was terrified, and he was trying to dig his way out.
Mm-hmm.
How does this go next? Do you hear anything from them? Are they making noise? Is it largely silent?
No. I didn't hear any noise. I didn't hear
it's just
any noise.
Complete silence. Or the sound of nature.
It was dark. It was dark by this time, so it was really nothing going on. It's the winter, so, you know, there was really no noise going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You talked a little bit about that larger humanoid being, and you made an emphasis to come back to that. So I want to come back to that now. How does this whole event transpire? Where does it end? And what other role did this larger humanoid being play in that specific encounter?
I later on came back to. I left the site. I got thinking about, you know, I thought the little guy was stuck here or something. You know.
Okay, let's stop right there then. You're entrenched in this experience now. At what point do you decide I'm getting out of here, and how does that happen? Before we come back to later, how do you decide that you're getting out of here, and what does that look like as you leave?
It sounds like waking up when you're walking about 100 feet away from the place. That's what happened. I was walking, and all of a sudden I woke up walking.
You feel like you lost time?
No. But I knew. I knew that I felt some pretty powerful forces in my head. And like, go back to we're going to go back to it. Is I walked up to that little guy and we had a discussion.
Okay, so you did communicate.
We had a quick talk.
Okay, verbally or mentally?
Mentally.
Okay, and do you remember what that was about? You could paraphrase too.
Oh, okay. It was by voice, and he responded to me by voice. He responded to me which sounded like a pleasant human voice, a male voice.
Interesting. Okay. Do you remember what the conversation was about?
So I was outside the facility, and I thought he was I don't know why I was thinking this. I thought he was a human or some sort of human or something. And I said, this is crazy shit. And I said to myself, I'm going to go back. The little guy was acting like he was terrified or sick and stuff like that. And I'm going to ask him if he's okay. And so I go, about 100 yards away, and I walk back. Everything's still going. The light man and all that sort of stuff. Like the tall man, I think, is gone. And I walk. Everybody's gone, and he's sitting right down in the middle of the playground waiting for me. It was creepy. He was sitting down, looking at me, staring at me, and he says, "Yeah, I've been waiting for you." He didn't say that, but that's what it looked like.
Okay.
And so I said to him, "Are you okay?" Close. He says, "I'm good, Mike." That's it.
Interesting. That's it. So you kind of wake up in this trance, for lack of a better word. Let's call it 100 yards away. You said you're leaving away. Do you look back at all, or do you just kind of keep marching on? You're like, all right, now I've had this experience. I got to get out of here.
I'm totally fucking terrified. Mm-hmm. Totally. I felt dread. What?
It all sets in at that point.
Yeah. I felt totally fucking dread and stuff, but still I went back. And then when I left them again for the final time, it's like living a life of dread.
Wait, so you went back after you walked away? You went back to them again?
That little boy, which I went away.
Yeah.
I woke up walking away and stuff, and then I started thinking about that little boy, alien, and I said, "I'll be damned! I'm going to walk right back to him, ask him if he's okay."
Got it.
Oh, okay.
And then I walked away from him.
Do you remember
so you had that brief conversation? He told you he was okay, and then at that point, that's when you left for good.
Yeah.
How long, if you could estimate, how long do you think the whole process from start to finish took? From the time where you heard the swing, saw the light, to the point where you walked away and didn't go back? How long, if you just a quick estimate, how long do you think that process took? From
about 4:30 p.m. until probably in the early morning. I mean, not early morning before daylight. 8 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours.
So you were on that trail, that mountain for 8 hours.
Well, in hindsight, I no longer think the visual encounter is important. It's filled with symbology and stuff, and sometimes when I think of it, or something like that, something new pops up, and sometimes it's significant.
Well, yeah, that's they talk about like repressed memory, right? And so sometimes talking about it is cathartic. It's therapeutic. And that's what kind of helps unlock some of those memories. So I don't think that's wrong that you unlock some of these new pieces. For us, though, that this whole encounter, though, to Tim's question, that takes 8 hours. Like the whole time you're out there is 8 hours. Like that's what we're trying to wrap our head around. Was it really you were gone for that long a time? Because then I am wondering if maybe you lost time in there.
And I think just to be clear real quick, when I asked that question, when Shane asked that question, not the time of the whole hike, because I know you mentioned earlier at the beginning when you started explaining this, you were out on a hike and you wanted to tire yourself out. Not that part. Just the how long do you think the whole encounter took? Was that process 7 to 8 hours?
4:30 p.m. till the next day, probably an hour or two before dawn. 8 or 9 hours. And
so that
I think they took me up to their ship. I think
that's why I was going, and I think that's what Tim was trying to get at as well. Is the way you describe it, that sounds like it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour.
Right.
But to have lost that much time and then find yourself 100 yards away and then come back again, that to me says that you didn't do that on your own accord necessarily. Maybe that was a controlled I don't know, some sort of like, I don't know, I don't want to call it like a psychic or telekinetic power, but something planted you back and kind of directed you to go that way. And then for whatever reason, you broke out of your haze and you come back. Again, not trying to put words in your mouth, but it seems like that something might have happened more than just that encounter that maybe you can't recollect from that point.
We got to talk about that big man in the box.
So let's go back to the big man. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go ahead.
So I'm standing there, in there, and like I say, you know, he was moving around. He was, every time I took my gaze off him, he moved into instantly move. I would think it's instantly move into a different position, and I never seen one of them walk, except that the only movement I seen out of anybody really was the little guy squirming in the dirt. And so now I'm facing. I'm on the side, and I'm looking back, and the telephone guy is right in front of me, and then, like I say, I look down at his feet, and there was a box about 3 by 3. It had rather thick wires or tubing looping around. You kind of can see the loop. You don't know how much wiring or anything is there. And then the little guy is about 3 by 3. There's no way he's going to cover the box, with his body, no matter what he does. And he is squirming around the box, sometimes disappearing behind it and coming back out, and he's doing all this kind of movement shit around the box. And there's no doubt in my mind that was tension getting. They wanted to make sure I saw that box. I don't know what the box is for.
That was my next question, is why do you think that was? Do you know what the box looked like? Was it a piece of cardboard? Did it look like a metal box?
It looked like a completely black metal box and tubing.
Interesting.
And tubing. Interesting. The tubing was black too?
Yeah.
So what ends up happening next with this tall guy?
So like that's the little guy didn't stop. The little guy didn't stop squirming around the box trying to obscure my vision. That was fake. That was fake. They all knew that I could see the box clearly, but they were making movements, so I paid attention. So I just walked away from him. I just walked away from him.
And that was the end of that encounter?
Then they came around, and I came to that point where just before the hole in the ground, I came around, and he was in that hole. He was in that. I walked around, came around. I stayed in the grounds. I didn't, I was right. I didn't go across the fence to save myself. I was on the ground, and the alien was squirming on the ground with his face down.
Wild. So how does this encounter end?
I eventually go get my bike, and I eventually start to go. I debated. I had my bike in the woods, locked in the woods, because I don't want anybody to see it. Isn't it not far away? But I wanted to walk, so I got to go back to. I debated. I says my bike's in. I says I got 2 choices here. I can walk back home, or I can go get my bike. And I'm thinking about, well, you're going to see more aliens. And I'm fucking terrified.
Yeah, sure.
Utterly fucking terrified. And I said, fuck it, I'm going to get my bike. And I didn't see him the rest of the time. He just took off and went home. And
what happens when you get home? Are you married at this point?
I am too afraid to look at the clock. I'm too terrified and traumatized to look at the clock. I wouldn't look at it at all until the next morning. I went to bed, and then I woke up.
Why
did you live with anybody?
Afraid to look at the clock?
because I knew time was missing. I knew something was wrong. I knew time was missing.
Mm-hmm.
I've been traumatized.
Yeah.
I see, you know, that might be fucking how do you say that? Ontological. That might be ontological.
Yeah.
You know, the feelings of shock and stuff like that.
Sure.
You've seen something that was out of this world, and you knew it.
Yeah.
I was out of my mind, and I had a dream. Do you want to hear that one?
Well, hold on. Well, let's get to the dream next.
All right.
When you get home, are you living alone at this point, or did you live with somebody?
I'm living with my wife. My wife, my son. My son's 31, and my daughter, her boyfriend,
So there's people in the house. Do you share this with them?
Kids.
Oh wow. Okay, so you had a full house then.
Emergency, and the only solution with the housing over here was you move in with us for a little while, and
sure.
We're not going to charge you for rent.
Sounds like a good parent to me.
Yeah, doing what a good father would do.
You know, I was hesitant to have them there, and I said it in the beginning.
I'm sure, yeah.
But it was the best experience of my life. Having young children, you know, 8, 9, or 11, maybe to 8 in my house. I could see my kids growing up again, essentially.
So,
now,
Mike,
did you share?
Did you tell anybody about this? Did they ask you, hey, where were you for 8 hours? You know, what was that experience like once you got home? Did anybody ask any questions? Did you tell anybody about it? What happened once you got home?
I knew my wife couldn't handle it. I knew that. I didn't want her to worry about me, especially if I have to start fucking explaining what really happened to me and stuff like that. So I didn't tell anybody. Yeah. And again, I just was in such fucking shock, and horror and terror and dread. What was that word? Dread. Dread. Yeah. Can be, you know, and that's the way I basically led my life for the next 6 months. I had panic attacks, like somebody's around me and all that sort of stuff. And so I declined. I declined really fast mentally.
So it goes 6 months before you tell somebody.
At the end of this all, I was suffering from severe depression, and after I got into the hospital, came from that, they gave me antidepressants, and after that they gave me another dose of antidepressants, and I came back, and I just. The guy that was in a commercial jet liner a little recently, and he tried to dive his plane into the ground. Does anybody remember that?
Yeah.
He was suffering from depression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you get home now. Does anybody realize you're gone for this period of time? Do they ask you where you might have been? Do you tell them anything? I mean, it sounds like you didn't tell anybody for 6 months. What does your family think that you were gone for all this time?
They were asleep. They were asleep probably at 10 o'clock. Everybody was asleep.
Right. So this is normal for you at this point to be going out on longer hikes or bike rides where you'd come home later at night, and that wasn't abnormal at all.
No.
At what point?
It's cool being on a bike in the woods.
Yeah. No, it's great, especially if you have like great trails that you can go on. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. A lot of abandoned rail tracks, in the area.
That's cool.
It's beautiful.
So at what point do you finally say, all right, I got to get this off my chest. I have to tell somebody. When do you finally tell somebody about this experience, and who is it?
I started talking to my wife. I started disclosing to my wife, I seen some aliens out in the woods, and I'm watching her face drop. Can't believe what she's hearing and stuff like that. And
does she tell you you're crazy right away, or does she believe you?
No. She just, Mike, I can't talk about this. You're scaring me too much. And I never, that's basically all she's gotten out of me since I've
Wow.
been. I don't, we don't discuss the alien thing. We don't discuss aliens or UFOs in our house and stuff like that. We gotta have a refuge.
So in the beginning of this story, you told us that the playground was illuminated, and Tim had asked some specifics on how that was, and you asked us, do you want to know how it was lit up? And we told you to hold that thought. Now I'm going to I'm going to crank open that can of worms. How was the playground illuminated? How was it lit up?
Well, I call it like a crime scene, like a crime scene in the night, and all the people running around, and it's all lit up. Or could have been like a small military operation, or a rescue type of thing. And there's high intensity light all around us. It was the strangest light I've ever seen. It was like white. It was like fluorescent kind of light. It was a kind of light that I never seen before, and that awed me also. I mean, that blew me away also.
Did you see a source of the light? Right. So if you're out in I don't know, I'm gonna make a parking lot, right? You see the light post, you see the light bulbs, you see where the light's coming from. Was there any source to that light that you were able to pick up on or notice?
That was the light bulb man. That was the telephone guy. He was a fluorescent light bulb.
So he was the one illuminating the whole area.
Yeah, he looked like a fluorescent tall light bulb.
Okay.
No head.
Wow. Interesting. So I tend to wonder if this telephone guy wasn't actually a creature in so much as maybe it was some sort of a machine, or maybe it was mechanical. You said though it was moving kind of funky. Perhaps that's what it was. If it's illuminating light, it's standing by what would appear to be some sort of a power box with wiring. Maybe this is something that's being controlled, and that's perhaps why the smaller alien was scrambling around it, because perhaps you could have damaged it or deactivated it, or who knows what else.
That light bulb guy. That light bulb guy could be like a security guy.
Yeah. Right.
Watch it, making sure I don't overstep.
Yeah. Well, I think
I don't know. It's it's all.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And what we know, it's more speculation for me. I think back to
I love.
Yeah. Well, it's that's the fun part of it too. Is like we can take the experience and we can kind of try to fill in the blanks as much. Maybe we won't find these answers out. Maybe we will. But I think back to a TV show called Falling Skies. It was on TNT for a couple seasons. Tons of fun. But one of the things that they addressed was the initial aliens that they encountered weren't actually aliens. They were mechs, if you will, right? They were these mechanical beings that the aliens would control. And then the actual aliens were a lot more fragile. And so they didn't want to put themselves in harm's way. And I'm wondering now if maybe this light pole guy who was taller, again, in the TV show, it was the same way. They were bigger. They were lankier. There's this recurring theme in Hollywood.
He was huge. Right.
And so that's where it aligns to me a lot. There's always a recurring theme in Hollywood where these things tend to line up in different arts and then in different encounters, like you're having experiences. And it's just, they're not always exactly the same because obviously Hollywood takes liberties, but it's always fascinating to me to see how much they do align. Yeah. So I want to move past this experience and
just another idea. If you
go
want.
ahead.
We'll talk about, the next one I talked to was my doctor.
Okay. So yeah, let's go into that. So you sit down with your doctor, and is this just your general practitioner, or is this like a therapist?
I've known him for years.
Okay.
He's a good body guy. He's a really good body guy. He's a really good doctor. But
that's great.
I must have been a wreck. You know what I'm saying? I must have been a wreck. There must, he knew that something was bugging me and stuff like that. And then I started, it wasn't organized or anything. I just started blurting off shit I seen and stuff like that, and tried to explain. Then he kept saying I did something. Let's just say I did something talking about national security, which and stuff like that.
And this likens back to your days in the Navy.
No, a recent event.
Okay.
So I talking like that, and I must have been looking crazy and sounding crazy, honestly. And he looks at me and he says, "Mike, you got delusions. We got pills for that."
Mm-hmm.
And so we talked a little bit more. I remember coming out of the doctor's office and going across the thing, and somebody sitting at the desk, the greeting desk, stands up and says, and they say, "Hey," and they say, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" And so I say, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine." You know what I was doing is just in la la land, really.
Right.
Just numb and disappointed and shocked at my doctor and all that sort of stuff. I was just in la la land, and I was walking out, kind of like that out of the office, and somebody caught me doing it.
About what year was this first encounter?
Oh, Jesus. 2020, 2021. But
this is recently.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking this was back towards like your power plant type days. So this is in the past couple of years that this happened.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Okay.
So I, if you got time, I had a lot of things. I had before this, I had a dream of. I'll just go quickly through it. I had a dream that I was on oh Jesus, I forgot the name. What is them star formations that are pointy? They're the birth of stars, like a nebula. A nebula.
Okay. Got it.
Honest to God, find myself. It's a dream. I find myself on a patch of grass. On top of the nebula. I know the nebula is millions of miles wide, even the point. But I'm on top of the nebula. I think I am. The view makes me look like it, and I like to mow my lawn. There's a long story. So there I am, mowing the lawn and on top of the nebula, and I'm fucking all by myself. Nobody around. I'm afraid to fucking fall off. And honest to God, and there's nothing between me. I'm just walking out in space, and I'm saying to myself, Mike, you're out in space. How are you fucking breathing and stuff? Mm-hmm. And so and I'm walking, and then I start walking around doing my lawn around the nebula, around the start mowing the lawn and stuff like that. And so the calming and stuff like that. Then I woke.
You had this dream. This is before you had the experience.
Before the experience. And before the experience, I was out there and for 6 hours, and there was low cloud cover, and I started hearing airplanes flying over a few, then a lot more, and then next thing I'm thinking, man, this is a training. They're doing training, aircraft training above me, and
the same day.
What?
Was this the same day?
Was this no? This is before. This is before the encounter. I'm going to explain.
This is before. Okay.
So, did you ever have any other encounters after that initial one?
I got to see a lot of craft and a lot of different aliens.
Animals?
Aliens.
Oh, aliens. Oh, I'm sorry. I misheard that. I was going to say. All right. So the first encounter happens about 2021. 6 months go by. You really haven't told anybody. You finally tell your wife. Your doctor sort of picks up on it. When does the next instance happen?
And so then after the airplane for 6 hours, airplanes flying around me, I figure out that wasn't true. It sounded true to me. Lots of airplanes, military jets, everything around me, above the clouds, and I researched that. And then there's another time that before it, this was a little bit earlier. I'm in the woods, and it's fall, and I hear a helicopter that way off in the distance, and I hear it coming towards me, and then finally I'm saying, "Oh fuck, It's kind of close. I'm living near a nuclear plant. They don't. That's not. You're not supposed to have airplanes above the plant." So that I'm starting. Oh, geez, that's kind of odd and stuff. And then I'm at a dam, and there's a pool underneath it, and then there's a power plant in Vermont Yankee. So there's a lot of high tension lines going across the river. So
Right.
I see that helicopter line up. He drove into there's hills or cliffs, more or less. He dove into the pond below the dam. I'm up on a bluff, and I hear the helicopter. He's he's on the far side. I could barely hear him. Then all of a sudden, the rotors increase speed quite a bit, and then I hear the he's getting closer. It's increasing. I can hear him dip down inside that pool, more or less, kind of close to the water. And he comes up. He comes up on the other side. I'm on a bluff, and I'm sitting about 50 feet from the bluff, and that helicopter rises up. It sounded like the damn thing was underground, because I think it's kind of far down in the close to the water, where I was 50 feet above it. And so he comes up slowly. The first thing I can see is the rotor. A rotor pop out. He's climbing. He goes above the ground. But I can see that a lot of trees in the area, and I can see the rotors going above, and then I see them kind of rising, and I can see the rotors. I can't imagine why the rotors aren't hitting the trees. It seems so close. And then finally he got up, and then he rode over me really low with the helicopter. Heart pounding helicopter noise, and I watched him watch me. It was a utility kind of helicopter, new, but a kind of utility helicopter type of thing. I look for doors and windows, vacation people type of kind of. I wondered if it was checking the wires or something like that.
Sure.
Right.
And so,
do you mind if I ask you what state this is all happening in?
Right on the border of New Hampshire. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right on the border of New Hampshire, across from the Vernon Dam.
Right. Wow.
And so he goes around. He goes all the way around and does the same fucking thing.
So he's looking for something.
That $1 million helicopter, right? He can't.
Right.
He can't get close to that electric plant. He's not allowed to get near that electric plant. It'd be a fucking idiot to drive down close to the water and stuff like that. And then to come up on the other side. I mean, he's risking so much. Wires, high voltage wires.
Right. Sure.
Sticks and all that sort of stuff. So I don't think it was. I don't know what the hell.
Right. Well, by itself at the time, it probably didn't feel like much. But when you look back in retrospect and you see after your encounter, all of these other things tend to add up. Being by the nuclear plant obviously adds up. It kind of all this stuff kind of builds on itself.
So them little things that happened, blowing my mind.
Yeah.
I think I'm crazy. I mean, I know, I have evidence that I'm crazy because and all that sort of stuff. It was really unnerving me and all that sort of stuff. And then afterwards, the encounter happened. Shortly afterwards, the encounter happened. So I knew there was something fucking around with me. Probably
right.
And everything
it's
like
seen you before, right? So Was that your only encounter, or was there any other experience after that encounter? I want to bring us back to that.
Do you want just the kind of like the names, or do you want me to explain a little bit about the thing itself?
Oh, you have names of the aliens?
No. I have different. I have like different kinds of aliens. I have.
Oh yeah, let's go. They didn't tell me this, Mike. Let's talk about the next time you have an experience, and then give us a little context. We don't have a ton of time left, but let's see what we can squeeze in, and we'll go from there. But yeah, the next time you have an experience is what?
No, give me a second. Well, I think it was the one that I was next to the Connecticut River. There was I was on the railroad tracks right across from Vermont Yankee, matter of fact, and it begins like here, and I'm probably down 2 miles, and it's springtime, and the fireflies are out and stuff. And so I'm looking around, and the fireflies were just so beautiful and all that sort of stuff. And so I'm looking down way, I don't know why, but I look way down the track, the trail, and something says to me, pick out a firefly, pick out one firefly. So I'm way too far away to do that, and so I just say, okay. I stare at a dot way off there. That's all I can think. That's all I can see. Quite a few fireflies. I just pick out one, and out of that dot came a basketball size orb, a beach ball size orb, and I seen it, and I watched it come towards me, and it's a trail, so there's trees on the sides. There's not too many places I can run, and then it starts coming at me, and then it starts zipping at me, zipping real fast at me, and I'm really fucking scared again, out of my mind, and it stops the orb stops about. About 20 feet from me, 25 feet from me, it just stops. And then I stood there, and all of a sudden it starts moving back to where he came from. And my car is over there. And I want to get to my car. And so I just followed. He must have knew I was heading for my car. And I just followed him to the end, and he disappeared. And the other one, I was walking in Northfield in the woods back there, and I'm walking. It's in the dusk again. It's raining out, and there's a thunderstorm. There's a thunderstorm approaching from the far distance. I watched it all day long, hiking in the woods, and I watched the thunderstorm begin as a little cloud. I don't think it was poltergeist shit, and I watched the thunderstorm come up over me, and lightning, and I can hear it, and then the next thing, then it starts to rain and stuff like that. And so I says, "Oh man, this is so cool! Dusk and rain, and the noise of the rain on the ground and the trees and stuff like that." Mm-hmm. I just walked past. I just walked to my car. And then I'm walking, and on the edge of the woods, I look to my right, and there's two what look like frogmen. Frogmen. They look
Frogmen.
Frog. They look like a frog face, and they were green, and they looked like almost like a frog. They were standing up, and there was 3 of them, and they were looking at me, staring at me, and one's bigger than the other 2. One looks like one not towers, but it's quite a bit taller, and the other 2 are like more or less teenagers. I'm saying to myself, maybe that's Papa Alien showing Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Now, Mike, this was after the first experience.
I got so scared I walked away. I ran away.
Gotcha. Now, so these two experiences that you just told us about, the orb and then the frogs, right? The frog looking creatures. This was after your initial experience at the playground that day?
Yeah, yeah. I have craft or alien visits every month to 2 months. I've been
Currently.
that's been a pattern for the last 2 years.
So are you engaging with them, or are you just seeing craft fly around, or is it a combination of both?
Did you see my video I posted on the on X with the shooting star, the shooting orb video that I got?
Were you in the woods? It's daylight.
I was in the woods, and
Yeah.
this orb or something. I think it might have been a Tic Tac. It shoots by me. He shoots by me like a rocket. It's right in front of me. It's like 30 feet from my face, from me, and stuff. It's awesome. It's an awesome video. I mean, it's a clip, and I think the and it had a hum on it. That craft was interfering with my phone, and during during recording the clip, there's a constant hum on my phone, small hum on my phone, and that white light. It was really, really, really white light.
I'm gonna bring that up for us right now, if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah, I did see that earlier, Mike. It is it's pretty damn bright. I'll give you that.
Let me pull this up here. There's a bunch of ads on this page, so you got to deal with me for a second here.
Okay.
So we're gonna share my screen, and we're gonna pull up the Popperville Town Hall. Okay, it is small.
So fucking cool.
Ready? Here we go. It goes quick. It's that white little light that flicks by the screen. Super quick video. Now, what made you pop out your camera and actually start recording this?
Well, I was I got this area. That area is the French War Indian Indian meeting place. During wars, they had meeting places there, and they did our archaeological shit and stuff. So I go up there and visit. This beautiful woods, extraordinary woods up there. There's a nice, huge, big field, and
right.
It's really cool.
So you had your camera out anyway. You were basically just filming the area,
so
more or less.
I was just filming around. I was just filming around, and
that's awesome.
I think I punched my button and it went and stuff. It was almost like they wanted me to take that picture and stuff.
So that was the whole video. You just started it, saw that, and turned it off.
No, that's how long it lasted. He just zipped by me. He was going that, and
but you weren't recording before or after that. It was just for that.
I had it on. I had my iPhone on, just taking one picture and not a clip.
Got it.
Not a clip and stuff. So I was.
I got what you're saying. The iPhone takes several pictures at the same time.
And so them aliens, you hear the hum on the phone. Them aliens got the phone and they reset my phone to take a clip. That wasn't that. I didn't have that on my phone.
You weren't trying to take a video. You were taking photos and somehow took a video, and that's what you captured.
I stood there. I clicked. I started to click the thing, and the white thing went right by.
Wow!
And I took the video. It's almost like they engineered it.
Now, Mike, did you see? Well, that's the best way to phrase this. Did you notice that orb, that light in real time in front of you with your own eyes, or did you only see it on the phone?
I seen a flash of that light.
Got
I
it.
seen that light, and I kind of didn't know what it was, don't know at all what it was. But a flash, I knew there was a flash somewhere, and
Right.
then I went back and was going through my pictures, and I seen it.
Yeah.
I seen the full thing.
And for anybody that wants to see that video again or to check it out, I'm sure we could put that somewhere in the comments, or I don't know. People on YouTube
we'll
say
post
down
up
below.
there.
I don't know what that means. Shane,
It'll be embedded in the video. We just did a screen share. I don't use all this extra technology for nothing.
I don't know, dude.
We'll blow it up. We'll make it nice and big in the video on YouTube. For those actually listening on Spotify or just listening through to us, we'll add it in the comments. Mike, I want to come back to your visitation schedule.
Yeah,
go ahead. It doesn't bother me anymore, but you're going to call me crazy. I think
there's that word doesn't exist on this channel.
No, it exists everywhere else in the world. I think that hum, and I think that bright light. I think there's a here I go UFO crazy. I think there's data in it. I think there could be a whole fucking branch of science in my iPhone. But I think the light and the sound of the hum and stuff like that. I think there's something encoded in the light and the light and the noise, the hum.
Well, if you think about how does data transmit in real life, right? We're talking on the internet right now through computers. And one of the most popular, well, for a very brief time, that's now changing, but one of the most popular and powerful transmitters of the internet was called Fios, or fiber optics. And what is fiber optics but bouncing light? So I think it's totally plausible that there's data being transmitted in light. There's totally plausible that data is transmitted in sound, because how do we get audio waves across the country? Through radio, sound frequency. So Mike, I think you're absolutely right in both of those thoughts. How we decode it, don't know. It might be beyond our technology, but it's something worth thinking about for sure.
It's a very interesting thought. Yeah, for sure.
I wanna go back to, you've been getting more frequent visits, and you said that you know names of them. You said that you've seen all these different beings.
I don't know names to them. I never talked to them, but
okay.
But they were just like them frog guys.
Yes.
Seeing them, I started looking at them, and I'm saying to myself, maybe they want to talk to me. I was thinking to myself, maybe that's a father taking his son and
right,
or something like that. And finally, the dread of me came up on my book.
Sure.
Well, so the original beings that we saw in the first encounter, I know you said they dressed very human-like. They had hair. Did they have a different skin complexion? Did they look very similar to us? Or could you tell if they had any distinguishing features that didn't look human?
Okay, I really couldn't see the tall man that was in the periphery. I walked right up to the. There's another thing that freaked me out. I walked right up to the little guy in his face, and I start staring at it and stuff like, and it's kind of blurry. But it's kind of blurry, kind of thing, and stuff like that. He's got a round head. He seemed like he was a little bit on the darker yellowish kind of skin type of thing, and stuff like that. What was I just saying? Yeah, and I had a hard time figuring out what his face looked like. And I'm struggling. My brain's struggling to figure out what's on his face and all that sort of stuff. And
it's wild. No, that's interesting to me. You know, just the whole experience in and of itself is just it's wild. It's something that, again, I don't know if I envy you for going through it, because I'm sure it's a burden to bear, and it's a lot to kind of uncompress. Or if I really want to be there, you know, I'd love to have an experience like that. I just don't know. I don't know that I'd want to be terrified or how I'd kind of come out of it. Tim, you think you're going hiking in the New Hampshire woods anytime soon?
I don't know, dude.
I'll take you to the sites.
You know, I might take you up on that, honestly.
Dude, I would listen. I would love to. Look, Mike, you know, you mentioned it. This is clearly had some strenuous effects on your life.
It almost killed me. It almost killed me. I got another dream, and they tried to suffocate me twice. I don't know if you want to hear it, but that's what they did.
The aliens did.
Somebody did. It looked like the aliens. The short of it is, I'm on a gurney, a stainless steel gurney. I'm laying down on the gurney. I can't move. There's nobody around me. Just a little bit of a moderate amount of light. There's nobody around. No machines. I'm just in the room, and up comes this film, and it comes up over me slowly, like a sheet, but it's a film, and it comes over my head, and then they more or less suck the air out of the
like
bag.
Vacuum.
Mm-hmm. Vacuum all scrunched on my head, and they did that till I passed out. They did that to I was horrible. It's fucking horrible.
You know,
and then they did another time. Then they did it one more time.
I wonder if your dreams, right? You know, we've established that there's a real good possibility, Mike, that you missed a significant period of time during that first encounter. I almost wonder if your dreams are recollections of what might have occurred during all that missing time. Is that... You ever think about that?
How I know I've been talking to Tim too long, because he literally took verbatim.
Because you know exactly what the other one's going to say, yeah.
Yeah, my brothers.
I want to add to that too, Mike. You often hear that people have alien encounters and they talk about abductions. And it's interesting to me because the way you've described them all is as dreams. And I've always postured that, what if those abductions are dreams? What's the difference? Maybe it's your mind playing a trick on you. You've postured these as dreams. And so I would almost, in what Tim is saying, give you the opposite is, how do you know that those dreams weren't abductions and you're just recalling them as dreams?
That's exactly my new feeling. Those were artificial memories.
I don't know if they were artificial. I think what Tim said might be right. They could be repressed and you're accessing them when you're dreaming. They might not be fake dream. Artificial means they didn't happen. Maybe they did. If you're having all of these encounters,
the encounter was a dream, and the encounter was a dream.
Maybe the encounter, you're remembering it as a dream, but maybe it actually happened, and you're just remembering it now.
No, I
forgot it.
I remembered it right from the beginning. I'm saying that was. I mean, what I seen was, you know, right now in the universe is some scientists are saying it's 40 billion years old, and who knows? I mean, who knows? I might have seen aliens that might be 3 or 4 billion years old, 10 billion years old.
That would be wild. Yeah.
How much, you know, whatever. And so that little guy, and that's that, and then, you know, then I tried to focus, and the harder I tried to focus, and then what popped up was this feeling that I knew that face. I knew that face so fucking good from earlier years. I just came up with a feeling that, you know, I was mesmerized by it, that I knew that face, that blurry fucking face.
I honestly think, have you ever practiced lucid dreaming?
Well, I didn't practice it.
Try to look into that, because I feel like you can unlock a lot more of those memories. Lucid dreaming, for the uninitiated, is basically being able to go into your dream very vividly, and then realize you're dreaming, and then control it. And so there's a lot of theories around it. My personal one that I subscribe to is, I tend to believe that you can either unlock memories or communicate with another channel somewhere along the lines. Now, whether that's past life, afterlife, somewhere else on the universe, don't know. It could be within our own Earth, maybe tapping into somebody else. Nevertheless, that's a story for another day. The reason I bring that up is, you've had these encounters, you're having these dreams that feel really, really strong. Again, I subscribe to Tim's idea that those dreams are real. They happened. And I think that if you can start to learn to control your dreams and lucid dreams, maybe you can pull more out of it. And maybe these beings are trying to communicate with you in that way. Maybe it's an abduction. Maybe it's just planting memories in your head as their way to talk. And so I think that might be an interesting exercise for you for two reasons. One, it'll give you more clarity on what actually happened. And two, it'll just, I keep using the word decompress, and I think it's really appropriate here. I think it helps you decompress and unravel all of those experiences you had, because within that lucid dream, if it is what I think it could be, where you're connecting with something else, something spiritual, then maybe you can ask very pointed questions within that dream and say, why did you come here? What was that box? Why are you continuing to communicate me? What should I know? And maybe that gives you the answers that you're looking for the whole way around. Who knows? Maybe it doesn't work at all, but I think it'd be a fun exercise to do. And I've never had an encounter, so I can't do it myself. So I'm going to lean on you, Mike, to do it. Until you take me out to the New Hampshire woods with Tim and we have our own experiences, we're going to have to lean on your expertise here. So
what was I going to say? Again, alien talk. I mean, alien kind of talk. I'm just essentially trying to communicate. Did they like all of the stuff they've shown me is all very high technology.
yeah,
It's all technology that they showed me and stuff like that. And I don't know I forgot where I was going with that.
No, that's fine. I think that's a great place to kind of to bring us home here too. So, Mike, what would you say to everybody out there, specifically who's been in your shoes before, that might have had an encounter and they don't know what to make of it, and that might be a little spooked on trying to talk to somebody about it? What's your message to them?
The truth. You're just going to get re-traumatized all the time. Everybody.
You're saying don't tell anybody? You think keep it in?
This is kind of more or less a decision for you to make. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a matter of survival, and you kind of more or less have to figure out your own road. Right? That's what I think.
Okay.
Because all the people, you got to imagine all the doctors I see, all the doctors essentially saying you got delusions. We got a pill for you. What the fuck? And the whole thing of talking with people here, trying to a host of doctors and stuff like that, and I can see their eyes rolling up. Oh, he's the one he needs pills.
Yeah,
that's where they go all the time. Tim, what do you make of this?
Look, I think it's a fascinating story, a fascinating experience. I'm glad you shared it with us. I think some of the most interesting pieces of it for me, it was the fact that you were missing time, and then you're having these recurring dreams, where to me it almost kind of seems like you're remembering what happened, and I find that fascinating. And Shane, I think you had a really good point. I think the lucid dreaming could do wonders to unlock some more of those, and I hope you take Shane up on that, because I want to hear about some more of them, dude.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to research it.
Research it, maybe hypnosis. I think something along those lines, Mike, that'll help you unlock some of those bottled up memories, or maybe just communication. So
I would go with hypnosis if I knew that the person was reliable and
of course, hardest part, yeah.
Yeah, well, look, we know that has
professional. You know what profession he was? They're professional,
right? Mm-hmm. We know that, and I can't. Shane, you might know off the top of your head. I can't cite the specific instances. I know there was actually a book and then a movie even made about it. But I know that there have been folks, to Mike, in your shoes, that have had abduction experiences that have gone through hypnosis, and it's really helped them to recall many things about that experience and kind of help them through that. So, absolutely, I think that could be a powerful tool for you, my man.
I think I did pretty good. I was nervous as shit in the beginning. And I think I did pretty good. Was I coherent?
You are perfectly coherent, Mike, and I'm going to wrap things up here for us. So as we do wrap up today's chat with Mike Mulligan, it's clear there's a lot more going on in the skies than we usually think. Mike's stories about alien encounters remind us that the universe has plenty of secrets left to reveal. So let's keep our minds open and our eyes peeled. You never know what's out there waiting just beyond the next stars or behind those trees in the woods. We thank each of you for tuning in. We hope you like and subscribe to our channel. It goes a really long way for us. And remember to keep your gaze high and curiosity higher. We're just getting started.